Have you ever felt tired, even after doing nothing all day? Not physically tired, but mentally exhausted, emotionally heavy, like your soul has been running for years without rest. Every morning begins with pressure to be productive, pressure to succeed faster, pressure to become somebody before time runs out. And while the world keeps shouting, move faster, do more, don't fall behind, a quiet voice inside you whispers something completely different, says, I just want peace. But somewhere along the way, many of us started believing that life is a competition. We compare our timelines, our income, our relationships, our bodies, our achievements. We scroll through other people's lives and secretly wonder, am I wasting my life? And that question slowly becomes anxiety. Then anxiety becomes exhaustion, and exhaustion becomes our normal state of living. But according to Buddhist teachings, this suffering does not come from moving slowly. It comes from forgetting how to truly live. The Buddha never taught people to rush through life. He taught awareness, stillness, presence, and the deep understanding that peace cannot be found by racing against everyone else. Because life was never meant to be a race. It was meant to be experienced, slowly, mindfully, one breath at a time. Tonight, or wherever you are listening from, I want you to pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you truly felt calm? Not distracted, not entertained, not temporarily escaping through your phone, but deeply calm inside. For many people it has been years. Modern life rewards speed, but the human soul was not designed for constant speed. That is why so many people feel emotionally numb, why sleep no longer feels restful, why silence feels uncomfortable, why even after achieving goals people still feel empty, because the mind has forgotten how to slow down. In Zen Buddhism, there is a powerful understanding. When you hurry through life, you also hurry past yourself. Think about that carefully. Most people are everywhere except the present moment. While eating, they worry. While resting, they feel guilty. While working, they panic about the future. While spending time with loved ones, their minds are somewhere else. Their body is here, but their spirit is absent. And slowly life begins to feel meaningless. Not because life has no beauty, but because the mind became too rushed to notice it. The warm sunlight through a window, the peaceful sound of rain, the comfort of breathing slowly at night, the quiet healing hidden inside silence. These small moments are where life actually exists, but speed blinds us from them. The Buddha once taught that craving is the root of suffering. And in today's world, we are constantly taught to crave more. More money, more validation, more attention, more status, more productivity. But craving never says, you are enough. It always says, not yet. And that is why so many people live with invisible sadness. Because no matter how much they achieve, the finish line keeps moving. Maybe you needed to hear this today. You are not behind in life. You are simply exhausted from trying to keep up with a world that never slows down. Healing begins the moment you stop treating yourself like a machine. You were not born just to produce. You were not born only to impress others. You were not born to spend your entire life chasing approval from strangers. You were born to experience life deeply, to breathe fully, to love peacefully, to rest without guilt, to sit quietly without feeling worthless. But modern culture often makes stillness feel lazy, and that is dangerous, because some of the most important healing happens in stillness. A calm lake reflects clearly. A restless lake reflects nothing. The same is true for the human mind. When your mind is constantly overwhelmed, you cannot see life clearly. You react emotionally. You lose patience easily. You overthink at night. You become disconnected from yourself. But when the mind becomes quiet, everything changes. You begin hearing your own thoughts again. You begin feeling your own heart again. You begin noticing what truly matters. This is why meditation has existed for thousands of years. Not as an escape from life, but as a return to life. Meditation is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming present. Even 5 minutes of silence can slowly change your nervous system. Your breathing softens. Your heartbeat slows. Your thoughts stop attacking you. And for a moment, you remember what peace feels like. Many people think peace comes after success, but Buddhist wisdom teaches something different. Peace must come first. Otherwise, success means nothing. What is the purpose of wealth if your mind cannot rest? What is the purpose of achievement if your soul feels empty? What is the purpose of moving fast if you never truly arrive anywhere emotionally? Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is slow down. Not quit life, not give up on your dreams, but stop abandoning yourself in the process. There is a Zen story about a man who visited a monk and said, "I am very busy. Please teach me how to find peace quickly." The monk smiled and replied, "If you are busy, meditate for 20 minutes a day. If you are very busy, meditate for 1 hour." First, the answer sounds strange, but the deeper meaning is powerful. The busier the mind becomes, the more desperately it needs stillness. Yet most people do the opposite. When stressed, they distract themselves more. More scrolling, more noise, more stimulation, more running. But distraction is not healing. Temporary escape is not inner peace. Sooner or later, the mind asks for silence. And if we ignore it for too long, the body begins speaking through anxiety, burnout, insomnia, emotional numbness, and exhaustion. Your pain is not always weakness. Sometimes it is your spirit asking you to slow down, to breathe, to rest, to reconnect with yourself. You do not need to earn rest. You do not need permission to slow down. You are a human being, not a machine. And maybe for the first time in a long time, you can allow yourself to stop racing. Just for this moment, right now, take a slow breath in and slowly breathe out. Notice how your body feels. Notice the tension you have been carrying. Notice how long you have been emotionally running without realizing it. And now imagine something beautiful. Imagine waking up without panic, without comparing yourself to others, without feeling like you are late in life. Imagine drinking tea slowly while hearing birds outside. Imagine sleeping peacefully. Imagine feeling emotionally safe inside your own mind. That life is possible, but it begins with one decision. Slow down, not because you are weak, but because your peace matters more than the race. And deep down, you already know this is true. There is something the modern world rarely tells you. You can spend your entire life chasing happiness and still never feel at peace. Because happiness that depends on external things is fragile, changes with money, with relationships, with success, with opinions, with circumstances. But inner peace is different. Inner peace remains steady even when life becomes uncertain. And according to Buddhist teachings, true peace begins the moment you stop fighting the present moment. Many people suffer not because life is unbearable, but because they constantly resist what already exists. They resist aging. They resist uncertainty. They resist silence. They resist loneliness. They resist failure. And most painfully, they resist themselves. This silent inner war drains human energy every single day. You may smile in public while secretly feeling exhausted inside. You may continue functioning while emotionally collapsing in silence. And because everyone around you also seems busy and overwhelmed, you begin believing this suffering is normal. But living in constant stress is not natural. A peaceful mind is your original nature. Before fear shaped you, before pressure consumed you, before comparison stole your joy, there was a quieter version of you, a softer version, a calmer version, and that version still exists underneath all the noise. Zen teachings often remind us that clarity appears when the mind becomes still. Think about muddy water. If you keep shaking it, the water remains cloudy. But if you leave it alone, slowly, naturally, the water becomes clear again. The human mind works the same way. Sometimes healing does not require forcing anything. Sometimes you simply need to stop disturbing your own mind. Stop replaying every mistake. Stop predicting disaster. Stop comparing your journey to strangers online. Stop punishing yourself for not being perfect. Perfection is an illusion created by restless minds. Even nature moves slowly. Trees do not rush to grow. The moon does not compete with the sun. Flowers bloom in their own season. And yet somehow human beings believe they must constantly hurry to deserve their existence. This constant pressure creates deep emotional fatigue. People wake up already anxious. They feel guilty while resting. They fear being forgotten. They fear not achieving enough before time runs out. But Buddhism teaches a profound truth. Peace is not found in becoming more. Peace is found in needing less. Less comparison, less noise, less rushing, less attachment, less obsession with proving your worth. Because your value does not increase through exhaustion. You do not become more lovable by destroying your mental health. You do not become wiser by constantly being busy. In fact, many people lose themselves entirely because they never stop moving long enough to ask, what kind of life am I actually creating? A peaceful life is not an accident. It is a conscious choice. A choice to protect your energy. A choice to disconnect from unnecessary chaos. A choice to let go of toxic urgency. There is a reason why so many people feel emotionally empty after endlessly scrolling social media. The human mind was not designed to absorb thousands of comparisons every single day. Every image silently whispers, you should be doing more. You should look better. You should be further ahead. And without realizing it, the nervous system becomes overwhelmed. This is why silence has become so powerful in today's world. Because silence allows the mind to breathe again. Even sitting quietly for a few minutes can feel uncomfortable at first. Many people are afraid of silence because silence reveals the thoughts they have been avoiding. But eventually, silence becomes healing. You begin hearing your intuition again. You begin reconnecting with your emotions instead of suppressing them. You begin understanding yourself more deeply. Meditation is not about escaping reality. It is about seeing reality clearly. A calm mind notices things a rushed mind misses. The sound of your breathing, the tension in your shoulders, the sadness hidden underneath constant distraction, the quiet beauty of ordinary moments. Zen masters understood something most people forget. The present moment is enough. Not because life is always perfect, but because peace only exists here. Not in yesterday, not in tomorrow, only here, right now. Yet many people live almost entirely inside their worries about the future. What if I fail? What if I fall behind? What if life never works out? But fear of the future steals peace from the present. And often, the imagined suffering becomes greater than reality itself. The Buddha taught that the mind creates much of human suffering. Two people can experience the same storm. One becomes consumed by fear. The other remains grounded and calm. The difference is not always the situation. The difference is the relationship with the mind. This is why emotional awareness matters so deeply. You cannot heal a mind you constantly ignore. You cannot create peace while feeding yourself endless stress and negativity. Healing requires gentleness, patience, compassion toward yourself. And that may feel unfamiliar if you spent your whole life being hard on yourself. Some people speak to themselves more cruelly than they would ever speak to another human being. You are not enough. You are too late. You should be better by now. These thoughts slowly poison the spirit. But Buddhist wisdom teaches non-judgment. Observe the thought. Do not become the thought. You are not your anxiety. You are not your worst moment. You are not your failures. Thoughts come and go like clouds, but awareness remains. And when you begin observing your thoughts instead of believing every single one, something incredible happens. The mind slowly becomes quieter. You stop reacting to every fear. You stop attaching your identity to every emotion. You begin experiencing life with more space inside your heart. That space is where healing begins. And healing is not always dramatic. Sometimes healing looks simple. Sleeping peacefully, breathing deeply, drinking tea slowly, walking without rushing, saying no without guilt, choosing rest instead of burnout, turning off the noise, watching the sunset without checking your phone. These moments may seem small, but small peaceful moments slowly rebuild the human soul. Many people believe they need a completely different life to feel calm, but often, they simply need a different relationship with life. The problem is not always the world around you. Sometimes the problem is the constant pressure inside your own mind, the endless need to rush, to prove, to compete, to become. And maybe your soul is tired because it was never meant to live that way. Maybe your anxiety is not a sign that you are failing. Maybe it is a signal that your spirit needs stillness, needs softness, needs rest. There is deep wisdom in slowing down, because when you slow down, you begin noticing what truly matters. You notice how precious time really is. You notice how temporary life is. You notice how many beautiful moments were hidden beneath your constant worrying. A peaceful life does not mean a perfect life. It simply means you stop abandoning yourself. You stop sacrificing your mental well-being for endless productivity. You stop measuring your worth through comparison. You stop treating rest like weakness. And perhaps most importantly, you stop running from yourself. The truth is, many people are not afraid of slowing down. They are afraid of what they will feel when the distractions disappear. But healing begins the moment you become willing to sit with yourself gently, without judgment, without pressure, without needing to fix everything immediately, just breathing, just existing, just being human. And in that quiet moment, you may finally realize something life-changing. You were never behind. You were simply carrying too much noise inside your mind. Imagine living one day without constantly trying to catch up. No pressure to prove yourself. No desperate need to impress anyone. No racing thoughts telling you that your worth depends on productivity. Just one peaceful day. One slow morning. One quiet breath. For many people, that already sounds impossible, because modern life has trained the mind to believe that slowing down is dangerous. If you rest, you feel guilty. If you pause, you feel lazy. If you move slowly, you fear being left behind. But behind what exactly? A race nobody truly wins? At the end of life, very few people wish they had spent more time stressing. Very few wish they had worried more, worked more, compared themselves more. Most people simply wish they had lived more peacefully, loved more deeply, rested more often, been present for the moments that truly mattered. Buddhism teaches that life is temporary. Everything changes. Every emotion, every season, every success, every struggle, even the difficult moments you are carrying right now will eventually pass. This understanding is not meant to make you fearful. It is meant to awaken you, because when you truly understand how temporary life is, you stop wasting so much energy on things that do not nourish your soul. You stop turning every mistake into self-hatred. You stop believing that your value depends on constant achievement. You stop postponing peace for some future version of life. So many people say, I will relax after I succeed. I will rest when everything is finished. I will be happy once I finally reach my goals. But life never stops moving. There will always be another task, another expectation, another problem demanding attention. If you do not learn how to create peace now, you may spend your entire life waiting for a calmness that never arrives. Zen philosophy teaches us something beautifully simple. This moment is already enough. Not because your life is perfect, but because this moment is alive. And life is happening now, not later, not when you become someone else, not when the world finally approves of you. Now, the sound of your breathing, the beating of your heart, the quiet stillness available beneath all the mental noise. This is where peace lives. Many people search for meaning in distant places while ignoring the sacredness of ordinary life. But some of the deepest healing happens in simple moments. Sitting quietly in the early morning, feeling sunlight on your skin, hearing birds outside your window, watching rain fall slowly, drinking warm tea before sleep, closing your eyes and allowing yourself to finally rest. These moments seem small, but they reconnect you with life itself. The mind becomes exhausted when it constantly lives in survival mode. Always preparing, always worrying, always rushing toward the next thing. But the soul heals through presence, through silence, through awareness. This is why mindfulness changes people so deeply. Mindfulness gently brings you back to the present moment, back to your breath, back to your body, back to reality instead of endless mental chaos. And over time, something beautiful begins happening. You stop reacting so quickly. You stop carrying unnecessary emotional weight. You stop needing external validation for every decision. You become calmer, softer, more emotionally grounded. Not because life becomes easy, but because your relationship with life changes. You realize that peace was never hiding somewhere far away. It was buried underneath mental noise, underneath fear, underneath endless pressure. And slowly, you begin letting go of unrealistic expectations, letting go of constant comparison, letting go of the belief that your worth must be earned through exhaustion. There is incredible freedom in no longer needing to rush. The flower does not apologize for blooming slowly. The ocean does not hurry its waves. Nature understands balance. And perhaps human beings were always meant to live more like nature. Slowly, mindfully, peacefully. The truth is, your nervous system needs rest. Your mind needs silence. Your heart needs softness. And your soul needs space to breathe. You are allowed to create a slower life, a gentler life, a quieter life, even if the world around you keeps moving fast. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It is necessary, because a burned-out mind cannot experience joy fully. An exhausted spirit cannot feel gratitude deeply, and a constantly overwhelmed heart struggles to feel connected to life. So tonight, or wherever you are listening from, give yourself permission to pause. Put down the invisible weight you have been carrying. Release the pressure to become everything all at once. You do not need to have your entire life figured out today. You do not need to compete with anybody. You do not need to rush your healing. Healing has its own timing. Peace has its own rhythm. And your journey does not need to look like anyone else's. Some people bloom at 20. Some bloom at 50. Some completely reinvent themselves later in life. There is no universal timeline for becoming who you are meant to be. Life is not a race. It is a journey of awareness. A journey of learning how to return to yourself again and again. Even after pain. Even after anxiety. Even after emotional exhaustion. And maybe that is the real purpose of slowing down. Not to escape life, but to finally experience it fully. To notice the beauty you missed while rushing. To reconnect with your own heart. To discover that peace was always possible. Not someday, but now. Right here inside this breath. So if your mind feels tired, rest. If your soul feels overwhelmed, slow down. If your heart feels heavy, breathe gently. You are not failing. You are human. And humans were never meant to carry endless pressure without rest. The Buddha once said that peace comes from within, cannot be given by the world, and it cannot be taken away by the world either. That means even in difficult times, even in uncertainty, even in moments when life feels confusing, peace is still possible. Quietly, slowly, one mindful breath at a time. Thank you for spending these peaceful moments here together. If this message brought calmness to your heart, take a moment to gently like this video and subscribe to Soft Zen Mind for more peaceful Buddhist teachings, emotional healing, meditation wisdom, mindful living, and calming journeys for the soul. And remember, slow down. Your life is not a race.